You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Celebrity Apprentice After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV Celebrity Apprentice After Show.
Hello. Bing is for doing, and we are doing another AFTERBUZZ show right here in the AFTERBUZZ studios, and it does feel really good to talk about this great show, Celebrity Apprentice, season number 12, episode number 8. It is called Ad Hoc, and there was a lot going on this episode. But before we do anything around these AFTERBUZZ studios, we've got to introduce ourselves. Breaking the show down, my name is Ronnie Jr. I am here at AFTERBUZZ quite a bit, producing shows, but I get to the pleasure of speaking with these ladies about this great show, Celebrity Apprentice. Next to me, I have the creator of EatonAsian.com. Whoop whoop. The wonderful and amazingly talented and opinionated Kimlai Yingling.
Hey, opinions are good.
That's absolutely correct. We've got...
I disagree.
You disagree.
But it's an opinion. So.
Yeah, you led that up really nice. Comedy and a writer of the website Don't Sweat.
No. Sweat. I need to sweat. You all need to sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Sweat the small stuff with Kristen.com.
That's right. Okay. Entertainment journalist. I mean, she does everything. She wakes up at 2 in the morning after we do this show. You guys got to understand.
It gets early and earlier every week.
Wow.
Well, she works that hard.
Hardworking. Thank you, Ronnie.
We have Alina Akram also joining us to hang out and talk about Celebrity Apprentice. And in the booth, we've got the amazingly talented as well, Phil Svitek, handling everything back there. Ladies, this episode started out a little bit different in the sense that usually we go fairly quick to the payoff. The actual cast member that won for their charity. This episode was a little bit different. We didn't do that right away because we had what you call post-boardroom drama. My thoughts on the drama, because Alina in a tweet, she had wrote best episode yet, and I definitely feel like this was the best one yet. And it was like, in my opinion, drama, but almost like warranted drama. No one was throwing stuff out there, you know what I mean? They were all kind of just defending their own opinions or whatnot, and it was pretty good. And obviously, when I say post-boardroom drama, the Aubrey thing, she walks away, and everyone's starting to have an opinion. This is when Arsenio says she's a B, H, a W, and a C. So, these are...
Well, before, speaking of opinions...
Yes.
You guys, as listeners, get to have your own opinion, and that is over on iTunes. You get to rate and comment us. Isn't that exciting? You get to rate and comment us.
Yeah, you guys, we love the opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons you should do so is because these guys will never ask it, but I'm going to ask for them. These guys put in so many hours, as Ronnie said about Alina. She comes here, then she wakes up at 2.
She wakes up at 1 in the morning.
To everyone else's credit, they get up at 3, so they're not quite as good as Alina, but they get up at 3 after this. And so in return, they ask for just for you guys to rate and comment, and a lot of you guys are, which is very nice. We appreciate that, and keep listening. And then just tell a friend. The more you spread the word, obviously, the more it helps us.
And Philly, let me tell you what I appreciate about AfterBuzz.
Did you call him Philly?
Philly, I call him Philly a lot. I see Phil all the time, so you just nickname there. Philly, what I appreciate about AfterBuzz, and this is,
you realize I'm your boss too, right?
I know, I was just,
Mr. Philly.
Oh,
Philly.
Excuse me, Senor Philly. My thing is this, on the websites, you go to other, places to download, and everyone wants to charge. Like, we don't make anyone charge to kind of get in on these conversations. And going off what he said about opinions and iTunes, we like that communication. Like, our YouTube people are also talking with us. Grant, is tweeting with us. We've got, different listeners that really show support. So it's a great show. As Alina said, best episode yet for Celebrity Apprentice. What did you guys think of the initial post-drama, that was going on right there after the boardroom? Because
it was refreshing. refreshing to me because I get tired of the cheese, opening with the cheese. It's like, okay,
Right.
we get it. We're doing something great and good for everyone. Let's just get to the
Good to
meat of
mix
the
it up.
show. Yeah. So I liked it. It was entertaining to me. And then I like that it didn't let up pretty much the entire show.
Yeah. I mean, there was just a lot with it. I mean, obviously Lisa sides with Aubrey, initially, and then you have I like Teresa. You guys watch her more on The Housewives than I do, so I really don't know what this other mean personality is or table flipping girl. I don't really know her as much, but I do like the way she is always trying to be very diplomatic. She's like, how are we going to move forward from this? I mean, this was like her quote. She's been so calm and relaxed, and later on in this episode, we see that she becomes project manager, which is exciting because I kind of like her style. She's been okay to me.
And Donald said, this might not be good for you, Teresa. It might not be good for your career because your career has been you being an a-hole.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're not being an a-hole. You might not get work now because this is what you do. It's like Snooki just dressing like she's classy. She would lose half of her fan base.
The guys here at Jersey Shore, the after show, we do talk about that with Mike the Situation, and if he goes to rehab, how does he party? It's kind of a thing. We had more drama, though, also, and this was... Lisa I like, and Lisa I can appreciate when I watch the show, but she does say some kind of wild things, and I'm not really a fan of anybody calling anybody a loser at all. I mean...
Well, Lisa kind of contradicts herself because she yells at Arsenio for calling
Exactly.
Aubrey a B and a W. She says, don't ruin your image, don't ruin your career. If you're calling women B's and W's, every woman in America is going to hate you. But then,
that's
literally right after, she calls Lou a loser.
She made so much sense with that
Diana
quote.
like an imbecile, basically.
It's ironic because she's made her career out of calling people names. And Arsenio hasn't, but give Arsenio a turn to call people names. But Arsenio said it's like calling the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah.
And she did. She exactly turned right around, did exactly what she just said. So, I mean, I love Lisa because I love people who are brutally honest. But if you're going to be brutally honest, don't be a hypocrite about it.
Exactly. I agree.
Name calling is not necessary. She could have said the same thing without calling him a loser, which I didn't even notice. You guys said it was true. She did call him a loser.
She said, I had a mental breakdown when I saw Lou and Diana with 5 brain cells between them come back. And then she said, continued on to say, quote, you're both effing useless. So, I mean, she's
might
brutal.
as well calling.
Yeah.
Might as well call him a loser.
I appreciate all of these people on the show for who they are. So I get in a moral sense you shouldn't call people names, but it's what makes Lisa Lisa. So if Lisa watered herself down and stopped calling people names, we'd be like, what happened to Lisa? Just how we're asking about what happened to Teresa.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, comes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think it's a little much.
Of Lisa?
She is much.
It's getting to be a little too much. And even watching this episode, it's like, oh my gosh, lady, enough. I mean, I think her PR rep absolutely got a hold of her because when she started saying that, oh, I like Diana, the PR, someone got a hold of her because she toned it down a bit and totally switched gears, which was so odd because it went from here to here so quickly.
And I think we're going to see it go back to there next episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's weird when I even try to say what I think about her. I'm like, I appreciate her on the show, but she does say some far off things. But she, as you kind of were saying, she brings that duality. You do have different sides of her, and I think that's what, and it gives me the opportunity to love her, as a cast member on this show.
I think that even goes for Teresa because she's been a lot nicer on this show, but we kind of see hints of it here and there.
Yeah,
the real Teresa.
Gosh, so much on this show, and like I said, we've never really had a show that we just stopped, for such a long time. Just to we hadn't even got to the opening credits, and there's just so much going on. I thought I honestly we didn't say this in predictions, but I was like, okay, we're gonna come back post boardroom drama. You knew that, but you didn't know it was gonna go right into 2 more attacks. I mean, this season, there's just so much going on, and Clay makes a really good comment about the Aubrey and Arsenio thing, which I'll comment on a little bit later. But let's speak on Arsenio real quick because he does get the payoff. At the end of the day, this is about charity, and I love it. $50,000 for his charity. It was $30 that was won, and then $20 was added onto it. And he gets on Skype with Magic Johnson, Mr. Dodgers. I mean, it's just Mr. Lakers, but now Mr. Dodgers.
I see him as Magic Johnson, TGI Fridays.
I was going to say, I see him as TGI Friday, Ladera Center. Yes. I see him as a 24-hour fitness guy. I mean, he's just such a businessman. And I love Magic Johnson's energy. He brings such a good, positive spirit. So I liked it. And you guys, Arsenio did break down a little bit, because he's fighting, and he lost, his female cousin to AIDS. So as if the show didn't have enough emotion with you battling and you fighting for your charity and you being confined in one spot.
I think it's an example of someone having a personal connection, with their charity. And so, of course, I mean, when you have a personal connection, you're going to be a little more, you're going to be more emotional about it, and plus with everything that had happened, I'm sure with everything, like you said, from Magic Johnson, all the way to...
She's a big sports fan, this one.
Magic Johnson, all the way to, his relative dying, to everything happening, with Aubrey. I mean, I'm sure at the end of the day, who would not be emotional?
Well, when we saw Arsenio do his apology to Aubrey, whether or not it was, genuine or not, he did say to Aubrey, if you later on let me explain why I was so emotional,
yes,
you might understand a little bit. So he clearly is personally connected, and we did see him break down in the boardroom in front of, and I think that partly also has to do, we didn't really touch on that because we wouldn't really think it at first, but a lot of his motivation to go off on Aubrey really came from a place of just sadness. Yeah. It's really sad.
Yeah, he does blame that on his outrage on.
And did you guys think he was going to apologize? I was telling Alina as we were beginning watching the episode, I was like, I don't know. I've always heard such great, we work in Los Angeles. All of us, are connected in the entertainment industry on some level. And I've always heard such great things about Mr. Coming to America, Arsenio Hall from the show, I always heard he had such a great attitude. So it really, that's what's getting me on this episode and this show. It's like getting me to say, oh yeah, Lisa, put him in his place. Tell him, everyone in America's going to hate you for saying these really vicious words. But then I'm like, also in love with this character on the show as well. I mean, there's just so much that, you could go off of.
What was it? What did you ask us though?
Oh, as far as Magic Johnson. Well, I was going to tell you also, he, I guess he broke the news that Magic Johnson had AIDS on his talk show.
Yes, 20 years ago,
HIV.
I believe. Yeah, HIV, and I believe it was 20 years ago.
And the question that I did have for Alina was, do you guys think he's going to apologize? I've always thought he would, and he did. So.
I thought he was going to.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you have a fight with somebody at work and you have to face them for the next, say they work together for 5 years at the same company. You're like, is this going to be a miserable 5 years or is this going to be a pleasant 5 years? I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to say I'm sorry, even if I don't mean it, and move on. And I think Aubrey and Arsenio did a good job at faking it.
I completely agree with you. It wasn't sincere, but you have to realize Aubrey came up to him first, or so they made it seem that way.
Well, it was good cleanup too. Cleanup. Both of them cleaned up their mess from last week.
They did, and they sucked it up for this week. They got through the task. Who knows if it's going to boil over to a head? Because we talked about last week when you hold things in, they come out in a big way. So, so I think maybe perhaps next week we might see fireworks between Aubrey and Arsenio again because after the show I think wrapped and stuff, Arsenio still continued to make comments in post interviews, about Aubrey. So I don't think his feelings ever actually change.
Well, even Aubrey mentioned during a clip, she said, "I still don't like Arsenio.
She said that when she was here with us.
But I'm gonna work with him." So,
do you
she said it on this show.
Did your opinion change at all of Arsenio? We had Grant tweeted us and wanted to know tweeted us over at AfterBuzz and wanted to know if our opinions had changed when Arsenio apologized, because he didn't feel that the apology was sincere.
You guys
so
both
what do you guys think? Do you think did your opinion change of him?
My opinion, I didn't start hating him anyways, but I don't think either of them were sincere. So it's not like I looked at Arsenio and said,
was it not sincere, or was it just kind of continuing on with the game? It didn't seem like they were not sincere. I think they were sincere that they wanted to work together and make it peaceful for the sake of winning. I loved Clay's comment, and he goes,
but they weren't sincere like, oh, I truly apologize, and I don't mean that you're a B and a W.
Right.
I think he still
can we say those words?
Well, I mean, we could.
I want you so bad.
It sounds so weird.
I know.
You can say it if you want. I choose not to say it. I don't really love the words.
There, I said it.
But she does. The comedian, she does.
There, I said it.
I have Tourette's.
We won't say the C.
That's the worst one of all of them. So, I think Clay really continues to impress me on this show, and I just love his comment about the two of their little feud. And he says, whatever happened with them, I think it was good because it knocked them into alignment. At least for this episode. You're saying maybe.
You think about it. You go to the chiropractor, and when he tugs on your body, it hurts, but you're back, and you're the way you're supposed to be. But when you go outside and you start walking again, you're gonna fall out of alignment, and someone's gonna have to whack you back in. So I think that's a good way to describe their relationship.
I was waiting to. I'm like, what?
Yeah. She's got a point
got it.
somewhere in that back break.
Yeah, I definitely think it worked. I wish it didn't have to go down that way, but it did work because she was a lot more subdued in this episode.
Yeah, she
in
was
this challenge.
much more subdued, and you saw her surprised face when Ivanka called her out for perhaps not.
Well, let's get
not, You know, we can
That's a
get to
boardroom.
that. We can get to the boardroom,
Yeah.
but I think her transition into being reserved was not an easy one, and I think she was doing the best she could, and I think she did a decent job at it.
Yeah. I definitely want to go off all that, when we get to the boardroom. But again, so much happened. We haven't even got to the music of, the beginning of the show yet. So that, was all.
Right.
That all happened. And we had to stop the DVR a couple times because we're like, so much is going on. But anyways, we finally get to the beginning of the show and we get Mr. Trump. He's there and he's going to break down. He's right there in Times Square. He's going to break down what exactly is going on for this next task. Everything seems to be okay. Aubrey comes back. She does do one little soundbite, as far as being interviewed, and says, "Hey, I came back for my charity, Glisten, because I want to prevent the bullying thing." I love how they didn't carry that out. I actually did appreciate that. Went right to it. Our Lounge, Renaissance Hotel in Times Square. Donald, of course, lays it on there. The beautiful Times Square, best city in the world. You know how he does all that. This task is for Entertainment.com. They've been contributing 50 years in this business.
Coupon buck.
Yes. And the task from Dee and Melissa, which are the executives there, is to make a 60-second commercial. I think it's like a fun task. Like us watching it, I thought this was one we could, definitely connect in and have opinions. And we did. We really legitimately did.
Yeah, well, we're working with all this. We have Living Social, we have Groupon, so it's right in.
There's so many
in the vein, and I think this just them getting advertising on Celebrity Apprentice because I had never heard of them.
No,
Yeah.
especially at 50 years old.
I always see the books at the grocery store, and they used to try to sell them at schools. So I'm familiar with entertainment.com.
I never knew they
I
were called
actually was
entertainment.
not.
It's like a huge book you could buy, and it was like, what, $25, something like that?
Yes, but I never knew it was entertainment.com.
Yeah. I didn't realize what the name was, but as soon as I saw the logo, I was like, oh.
And it sounds like such a good deal because you really can save a lot of money if you use the coupons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say I think we're going off topic a little bit, but the entertainment.com I think is a little misleading because I thought entertainment.com maybe I'll learn about movies and
I
and
felt that
TV
when
shows.
I didn't see the logo.
So I don't think it's the
100%.
greatest name for what they're doing.
I love what they're doing, but I thought we were going to get almost like last week with the locations of what you could do in New York City. I thought it was like something more.
But 50 years ago,
Celebrity
it was
driven.
relevant.
Right.
So
Yeah, I know. 50
Welcome
years.
to 2012, entertainment.com.
Anyway, so we go to the teams and we decide who the project managers are going to be. And at this point, I think everyone is at that point where they do have to step up a second time. Not everyone has been project manager, that's a thing, but some people are just very aggressive. Teresa, she was fighting for Matthew, for the charity that she is, trying to contribute for, and she just stepped up. It was a group conversation for her. Now, that was on unanimous. Over on the other team, Forte, there was no group conversation.
No.
But
we had a screamer.
your favorite, Diana, she decided to be.
I'm stepping up. I'm stepping up.
Did you guys like that? I appreciated her being a boss.
Yeah, because
she's
it's
been
fine.
picked on.
If she stood in the background like she always has, it would give Lisa an opportunity to say, well, of course, Diana didn't volunteer, I'm the project manager. So I think that's really the only battle that she can fight right now is just being loud and boisterous because she's been criticized for being too quiet.
Right.
So at this point, she has nothing to lose.
But that's not being team. I think she should have at least discussed it with everybody and really fought hard for it.
Right, but we have to remember there's team involved, but there's also I involved because
this
they
show,
want to
yeah.
win this task, and so Diana wanted to step up and show what she could do, and sometimes the team has to take a back seat to your own priorities.
And nobody objected to it.
No,
I mean, they
Team
were all
and I.
fine. Where in the past, I mean, when someone has stepped up, it was kind of like, wow, they just kind of went out there and took it upon themselves. And I think everyone was pretty happy for her to take,
Yeah, Lisa
step
thought
up and
she'd
do it.
fail, and
yeah, and she
guy
wanted to
no.
make it happen.
Right.
It works great for Lisa
And it
because Lisa
worked out.
Yeah, well, Penn couldn't do it because he was going to be leaving again, and it works
Yeah,
great
I'm
for
not quite sure how I feel about that.
Can we? Yeah, let's break and discuss that. You guys, okay, fans, the
so
iTunes
are we
people.
going to start talking about Forte then first?
Yeah, but I do want to say, what do you guys think of just casting wise? iTunes people, please give us your comments as well. Do we like having cast members that have to leave so much? I was okay with the one time, And now it's a second time.
You know, our dear Adam did it. You know, he did it for a wedding.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, it's kind of a silly. It's not a silly excuse. These people, they're celebrities. They in their everyday lives, they can do what they want to do. So when they get involved in something like this, no one can really tell them you can't do this because they'll say, "Oh yes, I can because I'm so and so."
Well, but then I don't think they should play the game.
Right. So I think maybe the producers should just put a nix on it. But I will say, if Penn wasn't as strong of a player as he is, he wouldn't have gotten away with being gone twice. If Lou left twice,
that's a smart.
Lou would have been out the first time. He wouldn't have had an opportunity.
You know
to
what,
leave
though,
twice.
Kristen? They didn't make as big of a deal about it this time. I mean, last time it was like played into the episodes. Like, oh my God, he's leaving. He should be the one in the boardroom. He
Well,
wasn't
and that's
here
'cause
the
he
whole
made a
time.
mistake
And so,
also.
you know, twice now. But I think that if a person is going to be on Celebrity Apprentice, I mean, they can have one time they can be gone because yes, we all have lives and they are professionals in the entertainment business, and they should be able to go once.
I believe the difference
But to
last time
continue,
was
you know?
they lost the task on something that he had, you know, because he had made an improper
Walmart.
Yeah, he said something wrong within the task. So I think last
But
time
that didn't have anything to do with him being gone.
no, but maybe that's why it was because he came back with 1 hour sleep,
And
that's
also,
why
the
he made a
producers
mistake.
are going to play it up the way they want to because this week was clearly dedicated to picking on Lou. So, you know, why kind of
clearly.
mix up the message with bringing Penn into the storyline when we could just focus on Lou?
Well, how do you think that? Go ahead.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just think these people have prior commitments that they've probably
Yeah, no, it makes
signed
sense.
up with. And like usually when you're in the entertainment field, you have so much going on
Yeah.
that it's what is
You get a
Celebrity Apprentice
pass.
going to say? Like, no, I'm sorry, you can't go on tour.
Makes tons of sense. The only issue that I would have with that is if Penn doesn't, if it's his week to go and he doesn't get voted off because, you know, we can't really vote him off because he did good at this portion, but he's not in it in the long haul. It makes it a little difficult. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But he's done good both times.
He's done
too.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think Donald.
No more.
I don't think Donald wants to put down any of the people that he has handpicked to
Right.
have on the show.
Right.
So I don't think he would pick on him in real life because Donald should also probably defend the fact that he's the one that's saying okay to this, to okay to him
But if
leaving.
he can make it for every episode,
right. If Donald can't,
Well,
anyone can.
and going off
Right.
Diana's team, Forte, and I mean, instantly it was like you saw Lisa and Diana just gel, and that was nice. I mean, you saw the other team gel too, but you almost didn't expect Lisa to be so appreciative of Diana, and she really worked well. You know, as the leader. Well, you know, she gave a couple tasks and it worked good for everyone. Lou just was the oddball of that group, like the whole time, right? He didn't do anything that was worthy.
Yeah, he didn't do anything, but again, that's what we're seeing in editing.
Well, the angle,
right?
But I will say he did try to throw in the camera angle. I will totally
He did.
give him that. He did
tried
it a couple
giving
times.
suggestions, but like every time they don't listen to him.
No. And it's kind of what they did to Diana. It's like shut up,
Right.
shut
Yeah,
up, shut
the
up,
only
shut up.
reason she liked Diana is because she didn't give her suggestions because she was in charge and she just let everybody do what they were going to do anyways.
My only thing with Lou and the angle thing, because it was great, you know, the camera angles was something that he suggested, and it would have been really valuable. I love how when we did get to the boardroom, Diana said, well, we just didn't have the time. But I feel like, and I was talking to Kristen about this, how like Lou brings such negative energy that just because in that exact moment he's like, oh, we should do the camera angle, and we're kind of looking at it as a viewer like, oh, well, maybe Diana should have gave him a little more respect, a little bit more, you know, understanding or listen or communicate better with him. But we don't know how Lou is acting that whole time. So this might be the 20th comment that came up, and you're like, Lou, shut up already.
Right.
That could be happening, and
Right.
I think it is happening.
I think Lou's kind of like Debbie Gibson in the sense that he always wants to act and show off his muscles
Yes.
and show off his talent.
Although,
Even though I feel bad,
You're
he's
right.
so nice, but every time there's a task, he just wants to be in front of the camera.
And he does seem like the type that's the kid in class who only asks the question just to ask a question. No one needs to know the answer to the question. Everyone already
That
knows the
kid,
answer to the
that
question.
guy,
and
he's that guy.
regardless, he's going to ask it or he's going to say it, and it doesn't lend any greater good to what they're doing. And every time he does that.
Well, he did make the comment. I don't know if it was in the confessional booth, but he was talking about how they could have used him. I mean, their star power to, you know, instead of the other actors and actresses. I don't know if he necessarily said that to them,
no, well, he didn't, because
I
in the
didn't
board,
hear him say
in the
it to
boardroom,
but I mean, I know he did, you know, he
in
was
the boardroom, they said he didn't say that. So.
Yeah. But Kimlai's right. He did say in confessional, because I remember as well.
Yeah.
He didn't say they should use other people. He said Diana and himself should be the
which that
actors.
would have made a couple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than Diana and Penn.
Well, I don't know.
Well, the Don
know.
said they should use.
I don't know
Well,
if
I know
Kristen
because he's
remembered.
so used to dating younger women.
Oh, that came up a couple times, didn't
But
it?
Lou's older too, so
Yeah, but he just doesn't look as old. Well, Penn,
No,
that's
I
creepy.
remember seeing Lou when he made that comment, like you guys said in the live, the interview, the confessional type deal, saying, "Oh, we should use it, us, star power." And then I looked right at Kristen and I'm telling her like, "But okay, that's fine, but is he communicating that? Like, he's just a grumpy guy. He's like a grumpy Gus, and it's just like getting annoying to everybody." And that's,
Okay. Lou calling Lisa negative is Lisa telling Arsenio not to call people names. It's like they're telling each other what to do, but that's exactly what they do. And Lisa is negative nanny, but I like it because I'm a comic and I look at everything in a negative way. But she's
some of the
taking
stuff
it too
she
far.
says is funny.
Yeah,
But when she starts talking about other people
Lou's
and really
negative-
digging into them.
here's the difference between
You nailed it. You nailed it when you called him a crybaby.
Yeah, he's a crybaby, and here's the difference between Lisa whining or Lisa being negative and Lou being negative. Lisa gets something done when she's negative. Lou gets nothing done. He stutters the same word over and over.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
And I
gets
also
a little stuck.
I also wonder if when Lisa's doing it, she has a little. Me and Alina were sort of talking about this. If she has like a little awareness of just, she's making great television too. So there is that. I was starting to think that this was a conversation we had earlier before, an hour ago before the show. I'm sorry. They do what they do, but a lot of them do have in the back of their mind, I'm gonna put on some really good television, so we can't leave that out too.
They want to get the spotlight. This is a good. This is promotion for them. you
Yeah,
know?
but Lisa, I will say, I think she's showing genuine emotion with all these tears. I mean, she's just like
We're getting the
welling
duality.
up every
Of course.
time.
It
I don't
doesn't
know
look
if she's
phony at
going
all.
through like menopause or what is going on, but she is super, super emotional. And I know that's how
Yes.
my mom acted when she went through menopause. I don't know, but it's probably about the
I
same
think
age.
the pressure too, and just working with. I mean, she's made a comment over and over about working with people that are inadequate,
Yes.
that aren't smart.
But Lisa's the type who would run Rolling Stone magazine because she was an editor there.
Right.
She's like a business
Yeah.
woman. She would run these things because she's almost like to me like a Marky Costello, who's a really strong businesswoman. I'm not saying that in any bad way. I'm saying they're so strong and their personalities are so defined and they get
have
the
a
job
question.
done and people listen to them.
Right. I have a question. You know how Lou sort of has to compensate is what we're figuring out. The way he acts sometimes is, in his mind at least, justified with maybe the way he grew up and his communication skills of limited. I feel like with her, do you think she's become this boss, aggressive woman? Lisa, I'm speaking on Lisa, because she's running Rolling Stone or whatever. She's doing all those great things, but in society, she's a bigger woman, and maybe people look at her in a different. I was overweight for a very long time, and people look at you in a certain way, and maybe that's made her aggressive. Do you guys at least maybe think that could play into it as well? It's just a thought I had.
Possibly.
The anger could be there because of that.
She
She has to
probably was
prove
born with
herself.
that personality in
Yeah.
a sense, and then there are other contributing factors to
Yeah.
bring it out
Yeah.
and to have her prove herself because she's not getting through life like Diana is.
Yeah.
No way.
No.
But you mentioned Lou saying that his disability has him at a disadvantage. But what about Marlee Matlin or who
Right
is it?
on,
She
Alina.
won,
Yeah.
and she's completely deaf. So
Yeah, they should have.
Well, she
referenced
didn't quite
that.
win. She got to the top two.
Did she? Okay, I'm sorry.
But she still killed it the whole time. She did very, very good. She did good on Dancing with the Stars as well. And you know who else is on Dancing with the Stars? Maria Menounos, creator
for
of
her.
AFTERBUZZ. Yes, vote for Team Enough. It's attitude is what I always feel, you guys. Like, so Marlee, in that situation, she had a great attitude, and so people want to work with you.
I was gonna say, I think there's probably a little more content with her.
Lou, you don't have a good
know?
attitude. Lou making the let's use our star power as an advantage. Great idea. He didn't communicate it, but I do like the way the editing goes because it wasn't too much longer that we see the really cheesy actors. Which what did you say as far as the actors that we saw who they hired for the task?
Cheese. That's the only word I
Well, they
remember
were
you saying.
cheesy, and it's like everyone criticized them when we got to the boardroom, and it's like, oh, are those actors? They're gonna have trouble getting work.
Right.
I mean, not
They
really,
get their
but
big break, and all of a sudden Donald's like, "Should you really have used them?" And they're like, "No, don't turn off the TVs."
those-
Everyone, I just called it home. Turn off your
Sometimes
TVs.
I wonder though if it, maybe it is a good decision to not use them. Maybe they don't want to use themselves every single time.
But at least one of them,
know?
I think, would be.
I
would be
personally
good.
don't see the huge advantage with using them because
Who?
with using Lou or Diana.
But you didn't see the advantage of with what's his name with Paul Senior. It worked the room. It worked the
Right,
room.
but finish what
Even
you were
Aubrey.
saying about the.
I just personally think that celebrity endorsements get boring after a while because they're so expected and they're uncreative. And I think it's smarter to think outside the box sometimes. And I think
And they did tonight.
yeah, and I think Penn was absolutely right. I think it would have been a different commercial. They're different ages. The vibe would change, and seeing Penn with Diana would be a little bit sex predator-ish.
But people love celebrity endorsements. Look at the Kardashians. For whatever reason, people buy into
People
that
stop
stuff.
loving celebrity endorsements. I am begging you. Except if it's Maria's, just buy it. Buy her book.
There's that duality.
Nice.
She's all over. So let's finish up with Diana's team, because we do got to get to Teresa's team as well.
Which
But
was much more entertaining. in my
we'll get to
opinion.
that. Well, yeah, no, definitely. But I do want to say one more thing about Lou and just being like the heavyweight of the team. You know, again, we're going to editing, which it's the end of the task. They probably put in so much work, and then he's indicating that he wants an icon, which is basically known as a lower third on the image for the video. And, you know, Lisa's like, well, when we watch commercials, we don't just have lower thirds, you know, on the bottom of the product. You know, you have the little image at the beginning, the slate or whatever, and then you show the commercial, and then that's it.
Yeah, because audiences are smart. You know, people know when you're shoving your product down their throat, and they don't want that. They don't want that. We live in a world that's way more advanced. And going to school for advertising, it's always like we had to treat the audience with a certain level of intelligence, even if they might not have it.
Right.
You have to talk to them like they have a reading level of a 10th grader rather
Right.
than a 6th grader.
But you guys, he was just making a suggestion.
Yeah, and
I mean,
again,
at least
he's
he
making
had one.
It's true, but I think that's my point. He was making a suggestion just to make a suggestion, just to say, "Oh, I said something. I had an idea."
But you know what? He didn't. No, I think it was a valid suggestion because he didn't think there was enough branding going on in the first place, because he was talking about the camera angles. And frankly, there really wasn't a lot of branding with this group.
Yeah, you're absolutely
You know,
right.
and
You're
so
absolutely right.
maybe putting in that little lower third and popping it up, you know, on the bottom of the screen would allow people to visually see that this is entertainment.com.
I think if Lou had that
know?
idea in a different capacity, if it wasn't a lower third, but if it was, oh, maybe we should have cut to the screen to show the
Right.
product. You know, I think that would have been more appreciated than something so kind of novice, like saying like, oh, just put the name of the brand
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an
But
infomercial.
but I definitely think you're absolutely right. They did not have enough branding, and Lou did point it out
Right.
in his defense.
Right.
That is true. We get to the presentation. Diana, you know, explains what the commercial's about. And I liked their commercial. I did not like it. You know, I liked the other one better. But I liked the way that it worked into their everyday life, although it was a little cheesy. But it did take you on a quick little storyline. But it was fine for me. It wasn't bad. You know.
Yeah, I thought it was a little lazy, and I think the people who work for the entertainment.com,
The executive,
thank you.
Dee and Melissa.
Dee and Melissa both said it was a little stale. We were expecting it, and I think really good commercials have that aha moment where you're not expecting something. So the other commercial had the aha moment where all of a sudden you're like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that moment right there. The woo moment.
So I just think that they didn't go to the level of thinking that I think they could have. I think having Penn on the team, having Lisa, they're both writers, they're both creative. I think they could have taken it higher, and I think they were being a little lazy.
But wasn't it Diana's idea?
It was Diana's idea, and she is the project manager. But I didn't really hear anyone else, at least in
They
the
didn't fight it,
editing
though.
that we saw.
Yeah, no, they didn't fight it at all. And then,
Right.
I mean, they did the writing. Penn and Teller. Penn and Lisa did the writing for, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good concept. I don't know what else. I didn't think, oh no, that one I thought was branded a lot. I mean, every
I
3
love-
seconds, I mean, they mentioned entertainment.com.
Yeah.
I mean, they made it a point. They got the pricing in there. They kept saying the name over and over. I mean, all the different examples of where you can use the entertainment.com coupons.
Yeah, and that was definitely
it
their
was
strong
great.
point.
So I don't know if it was just, were they trying to make it cheesy?
Yes.
Because I
Kinda.
feel like they were, but
Lighthearted.
then I think it kind of.
Well, I think they didn't. If they were going to go cheesy, they should have committed 110% and just made it uber cheesy.
It looked like it was pretty darn cheesy.
It
I
was
don't know how
really
much
cheesy.
further
It's
you
one
could
of those things where you can't tell. Is it supposed to be cheesy?
Well,
Because
yeah,
it seems
yeah,
cheesy,
yeah. I mean, like with
but it's
Arsenio's,
cute cheesy.
we saw Arsenio doing the tag at the end of their
okay,
ad.
let's
That
jump
was
over to.
good.
And I think if they went with a cheesier tag with like this really announcer voice, it would have been in that line of really cheesy.
Yeah.
It kind of walked that line of like, is it? Like,
It
was
kind of
just
fell
flat.
off.
It
Yes,
was
it
flat.
just it's.
Oh,
at the
I
end
figured
just
out their
kind of
mistake.
Stopped.
They did not hire our amazing voiceover talent, Sir Richard Wentworth. Now, see, had they done that, I just think they could have won. You know, it's just a thought.
Entertainment.com and AfterBuzz TV.
You know, I mean, you got to think of these things. Teresa's team, unanimous. It's so funny. Like we're watching Paul, and somebody called out the fact that his 2 favorite words are F and then U. I know those just sounded like letters.
By the
but
way, for the sake of Sir Richard Wentworth, If you guys are listening and you have a birthday party, you want your own special VO, you got a small business, whatever you have, I don't know. There's a lot of people that need VOs, I guess. I'm really told this. But
My whole life
nevertheless,
needs a VO.
what's that?
Seriously.
Yeah, so if your life needs a VO, you can hire Sir Richard Wentworth for your VO needs. Just go to the AfterBuzzTV.com website, and there's an info page, or I think it's contact. Go on your contact, and you'll find Sir Richard Wentworth, and he is available for hire.
He's so incredible. I think I want to call him so he could do my voicemail, because my voice saying hi, it's Ronnie, it's just not working. So yes, call Sir Richard Wentworth. He does a great job here for AfterBuzz. Teresa's team unanimous again. Paul, F you, and we have not seen that. I kind of am like forgetting his tough image, because he's just so easy to work with. So flexible.
So quiet.
And definitely was like the star of this scene for their team, right?
I feel like every time Paul opens his mouth, it's entertaining and he's got something to say. He's been a pretty strong player, and I loved his transformation. What did you guys think? I was giggling the whole time.
Every time, and that's the thing.
Totally cracking up. He cleaned up so well, but
I would have liked to see him shaved. I'll take it all the way.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
He would have looked like a completely different person.
That was still badass.
But
that beard, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you can grow this beard, you can drink a beer.
my God,
you
that is
can
like
throw a
awesome.
fight.
But he gave so much already.
Yeah.
He was probably cringing as
Whose
it was
idea-
with the
he
comb
was.
over.
Whose idea was it initially to make him be that character?
Wasn't it Teresa's?
I want to
was
say
that
it was
talking
Teresa's.
It was Teresa's, probably, because
I know Teresa confirmed with him. I'm not sure if she's the one who actually developed that idea. I wouldn't assume, but maybe she did.
And that's how
I
we know.
remember her asking, "Would you wear sleeves
Right.
for me?"
That's
I
how we
thought
know
they
it was.
were all really together.
That's what I was just gonna say.
It was a really good
this was
vibe.
this team. They were
Yes.
so every single person had a role. Every single person got along. It's like this team. They were so together.
They deserve the
so
win.
together.
Yeah.
And when Donald asked, because we did see Aubrey in the little interviews.
The on-the-fly interviews, the
Yeah.
confessional, we could call
Confessional,
it.
thank you. She said, I don't think a Celebrity Apprentice could be Paul or could be Teresa. Because
She said that? Ooh,
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah, because Paul chit chatty Cathy's when they were shooting Aubrey, Paul was sitting, leaning back in his chair, like on his phone, not doing anything. And Teresa
Right.
looked a little bit confused because they only had a certain amount of time left and everyone else left to do editing. And here Aubrey's left with Teresa and Paul, and she didn't think Teresa could get the job done. And Paul was really leaning back in his chair, not doing much. And so when Donald said, do you think there was a weak player on the team, Aubrey said no. And I think she said no because I think she really likes Paul. I don't think she wanted to throw Paul under the bus.
Right.
And then I think
But
she
what
also
was he
wanted to
gonna
stay
do?
really quiet.
What was he going to do?
She's friends with
Direct?
Teresa as well.
You know,
Yeah.
they are now, but I mean, what was she? What was
I
Paul
don't know
gonna
what he would do. I'm sure there's some way to do
Sometimes-
busy work to make yourself look like you're helping, just to show
But
you're
that's
trying
not
to participate.
Aubrey-
but it's not him.
It's his
not.
personality.
No,
Paul
I-
was the
probably-
star of the show this episode.
She probably doesn't get that either, because when we watched all the past episodes, unless he's given a task to do, I mean, he is quiet. Unless he has something to say, he doesn't say anything.
At some point, he will have to, rise to the occasion and sort of be more, maybe even be a project manager, direct some type of thing himself. But right now, it works. I thought it was endearing that he even went there. It was funny. The commercial was completely funny. It just reminded me of those commercials that are so comical that because they did leave out the $30 and entertainment.com. They didn't put all that in as much as the other team, but you want, as a viewer, you want to see that commercial, and therefore you'll go buy that product, and I think that's what they
It
nailed.
was well executed. Good acting.
Yeah. So they chose to have both actors in. They hired a woman to play the wife, but they had Paul play the father, and they had Aubrey play the daughter, the promiscuous daughter. And then they had which was sort of, I thought, a huge risk, because Aubrey is like this, sex kitten image, and I felt like we were almost going into a dangerous territory. Like, is somebody going to say something to offend her, or is she going to say something? Like, you just didn't know what was going to happen. But it all worked out so well. Again, going off Clay's comment, it knocked everything into alignment. I thought she did a really good job at sitting
They were
back.
on their best behavior.
Yeah.
And it is true. The bigger
Definitely.
the risk, the better the reward.
Yeah.
And they did take a risk, whereas Lisa's team and they didn't.
And my only worry with Aubrey, and I'm so glad that she performed in a great way that I enjoyed at least, was sometimes when people get that critique, they'll back up and not do anything. She still was doing a lot, but she also sat back. Later on, when we get to the boardroom, there was one thing that Ivanka didn't really like about her, but I thought she balanced it, and she did talk about life balance. I thought she balanced it pretty good. But the role was a risk to play a sexy, promiscuous situation or having sex with the guy, but that wasn't really it. But Paul was the star, though. He was really good.
Did you guys think that calling out the double entendre at the beginning of the commercial was helpful in making it less risque? It seemed like it was just as risque to me, knowing that they were doing the sex or not. What do you guys think?
I thought they were going to reveal it more, like that it wasn't really sex going on, but they were still kind of alluding to that.
I thought it was pretty alluded to. I didn't think it was subtle at all. I really think that they calling it out didn't make it any less. That voice Aubrey has is like sex phone operator.
Right.
So
I didn't think it was subtle either.
Yeah, they could have had teddy bears in there.
But it
so it would have been
worked.
really sexual. And it did work.
But
you know
you know
have to take
what?
the
I
risks.
wonder too if because Paul had totally done a revamp, it's like you paid a little more attention to that than actually the whole sexual innuendo of, or what did Penn call it? I was
Double
like, "Well, that's a
entendre."
big word.
Yeah.
The double entendre of the commercial concept.
Yeah, no, you
know,
definitely
because
paid attention
it's
to
like
Paul.
You're so shocked, and it's like he totally stole the show on that commercial.
Say someone watched that commercial though, and they had never seen Paul before and didn't know there was a transformation.
Yeah.
They'd just be like, "Okay, it's a dude."
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But everyone knew, even the buyers knew.
And you know, when they were trying to do the casting, would it work? Should we go with actors or not? Would this Paul, would he play well as Aubrey's father? Aubrey's father looks similar to not clean dapper Paul, but the Paul we know and love. You know, so I thought that was interesting because we've seen
Why
Aubrey's
am I
father.
not surprised?
That's what he
Right.
looks like.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means
I'm not
right there.
surprised
you
that
don't.
Ronnie knows what her father looks like.
Yeah, well, he was on
True
one of her,
fan.
he was on one of her reality shows. Yeah, I watch them all. But not really not a fan, but had a critique was Ivanka. For the record, we all love Ivanka. She's just so
Classy.
I don't know what it is. She really,
Smart.
but she does
Pretty.
say she made a
Be my
comment.
friend Ivanka.
I know. Let that energy rub off. Very, very brilliant. Ivanka is, and she goes for the truth. She wants to get to the meat and potatoes of what her issue is or what she sees wrong. So she's going after Aubrey, and she didn't really like Aubrey's comment in the sense that Teresa should have communicated more. That's what we got from that.
Well, I mean, let's explain what happened.
Yes.
It's not that she's not a fan of her. She was going after her. She specifically asked Teresa, who is the project manager, about the task. And classic Aubrey cut Teresa off and kept talking. It's rude.
And that's what
it was
Arsenio's
rude.
beef was.
And everybody picked up on it. So did Ivanka. So did Teresa. So did the audience.
Yeah. And Ivanka handled it in such a classy way. And of course she would. Her emotions aren't really wrapped up in this
Right.
the way maybe Teresa's would be. And Teresa didn't even address it. But, she just didn't say anything there and then just politely asked her in the boardroom. And I think Aubrey wasn't even aware that she did it. I think Aubrey is that's so Aubrey.
Right.
That she didn't know she cut Teresa
My
off.
only issue with that is I don't see it was a positive contribution.
No, it was not
Teresa-
a positive
but Teresa in the
contribution.
boardroom- Teresa in the
Cutting somebody
boardroom-
off is not a positive contribution when that person's supposed to be talking.
Teresa said in the boardroom, I was trying to say that. But,
Well-
but
She cut
Aubrey
her
cut me
off.
off.
She also said that when they were drilling her to find, a weak link or whatever. I don't know if that was like
You know
Teresa's.
what? You know what? I think Aubrey has spent so much time fighting to be heard that she doesn't have the intuition to know when to talk and when not to talk. And she is still trying to find that balance.
And she was trying.
Yeah,
I think she was trying. That's what I want to say. She
Yes.
did tone it down. You got to give her that.
Definitely. And
that
I
was her
liked her
slip up.
better.
I did
That
too.
was
I
her-
liked her better.
She's probably getting way less Twitter comments this
Wow.
time. But hers that was her pretty much her only slip up in that whole lecture.
It was
she
like,
got.
I knew she was still there.
Here's the question though too: Why didn't Teresa get that information out? It wasn't like Aubrey jumped right off the top though. That's my concern.
Well, I think
We're
she
not
was going to
sure.
get to it,
Yeah.
but she's a little
She
slower
was
in
getting
explaining.
there. Aubrey's
Okay,
a
so
little
Teresa's
bit
just-
overbearing. I mean, yeah, maybe you haven't noticed that, but she could
not
be
in
a
that not
little
in,
bit.
in that aspect. I didn't really notice it being a huge issue.
But could her the fact that she speaks so much, it could be her try to get more attention from the show, get more TV time because they're not showing Paul Sr. as much because he doesn't have a lot to say. But the people that do get the most airtime.
Well, in that
so-
moment, I don't think that's what that was about.
No, not that, but before this.
Yeah.
I do think Aubrey's intent was just to stay on the safe side and let Ivanka know that they were doing something in the right way. They weren't making it just sexually based.
Yes.
So I think her motivation in that was just to make the team look better.
And you know, just to kind of go off, you know, the defense of. The thing about it is Aubrey just did another reality show recently that aired on VH1 a week or 2 weeks ago, where it was styled by June Ambrose, which is a stylist, and it was all about. Actually, they talked about Celebrity Apprentice a lot because it was Aubrey being led up to going to the Celebrity Apprentice. They talked about her redoing her hair red, the whole thing. And one of the big issues that, you know, on those interviews that Aubrey does to camera is I'm looked at as a sex kitten. I'm trying to get away from that. So maybe, you know, we talk about balance and slip-ups. I think that's all that it was. It was a slip-up defending something that really hurts her. She talked about being known as the Playboy girl. I didn't know that offended her so much, but obviously it sits with her. So that is my way of always backing her because I really, you know.
What was she defending?
She was defending the fact that, you know, she didn't want Ivanka to come in there and assume this was a me, Aubrey show. Because, again, I mean, Aubrey's not dumb to the idea that people... her reality show is called All About Aubrey. When you guys hear, I noticed I was talking to somebody who doesn't know about her reality show. It's like the cast members always say, all about Aubrey, all about Aubrey. They're doing that as a joke because that was the name of her reality show.
Right,
So,
right.
anyways, it was just a
and
little slip up.
it's very pertinent as well, to the situation.
It was a slip up, and the growth, though, was when we did get to the boardroom. Ivanka gave her the information, and she sat there. She accepted it. She learned and grew from it. So that was good. Presentation.
But wait, let me say this, though. I could see the wheels turning inside those eyes going like, I'm going to come back. Don't you worry. I'm still here. Like, I knew that.
Change overnight.
Yeah. Like, she's still there. It's like she knew because she's strategic. She's smart, and she knew to back it off for this episode. But she is still her through and through. So I'm excited
I want her to
see.
find a happy medium.
Yeah.
I want her to
They
find
were
a
just
good balance.
all on their best behavior.
Yes,
They
they were.
really
They
were.
really were.
We go to the
Definitely.
presentation. We have a little bit of Teresa explaining it and a little bit of Aubrey explaining what's going to happen.
I'm sorry.
No,
I like
go.
what Teresa said. I think I like that they related it to themselves. I like that Aubrey thanked them because when Diana went up there, she was just like, "Here's that video, you know, enjoy it."
One
you
more
know?
time with the.
That's so funny.
Enjoy our commercial, you know, like. But
What is that?
that's a little bit of me.
Italian,
That was
Italian,
wonderful.
Asian,
I know, right?
Hispanic.
Sorry, Diana. But so at least Teresa had something to say, like, oh, you know, I'm a mother of 4. We love saving money. And then Aubrey even thanked them.
Yeah, it's awkward for me to watch those like intros though because it's like so phony and so.
I was
like,
going to say
fake. Like,
saving money.
Yeah,
what
like
are you talking about?
Well,
Yeah,
she
well,
needs to now.
she needs
Juicy
to. It's
Joe's
bankrupt.
going to jail.
Yeah,
It does always shock me that you know about the Housewives so much. I just feel like that would not be your show.
I've got a secret side to me that you don't want to know about.
It's just so funny to me. But anyway.
Don't even get me started.
So it was a great presentation. We do see the eye raise with the executive where he's like, oh, you know, a little risque. Like you just knew that was what the edit was about. You know, that could have been for the whole, I don't know what it was about, but it was edited in as if he was offended or, you know, how dare them make it seem like sex was involved. But it was a fun commercial, cute commercial, and we obviously all kind of took a liking to it, all of us at least.
So explain to me why though again they won because they didn't have the
As much
pricing.
branding.
They didn't have as much information about the product. What was it again that the executives swayed? Swayed by?
Creativity.
The guy from entertainment.com, he did say that he appreciated them taking that risk. So
Okay.
So I think maybe that helps. And also, like, let's think about it, you guys, because I was thinking about this. Commercials that we know and love, not all of them exactly like spell everything out for you, but you're like, oh, remember the blank commercial? I'm trying to think of one right off the top. I mean, and even though it said, like when we would think, oh, look at the frogs, like that was the Budweiser commercial. Granted, they did say Budweiser. It's like, no, that's, you know, I got to give you some
the
time.
Apple commercials, like the old school ones with the dot. Do you guys remember that?
The what?
There was like a dot on the screen.
Yeah.
Are you saying dot?
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry. Dot.
But you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes commercials just is more about the
It's
song.
a teaser. It's like
yeah.
a teaser. Like it leads you to be curious and want to
Like-
check it out on your own.
I think they liked the star power in the
Yeah,
the video
that's why they
as
won,
well.
probably.
yeah.
I think they just
So-
thought it was more entertaining. Period.
Because I know the negatives that that they listed were they didn't mention how much it is and it was too risque. But I'm sure they had
Yeah.
I think the other one was so
boring.
dull
Yeah.
for them, and they didn't use the people that they had on hand. They outsourced it. But I did think it was odd that they won though too because I didn't think the brand messaging was there.
Yeah.
It was-
They
Yeah,
felt
on
negative
that
about
one?
the coupon cutting, the old fashioned that was mentioned.
Yeah.
I personally didn't find a problem. I can see how putting down something else is negative, but But when you're putting down something that but it is true though, because they used to have those magazines.
But aren't
People
they
They
trying to
still have the
move?
magazines.
But they're also trying to move online, correct?
Yeah.
Well, they do
So-
have a mobile app now, and
Yeah.
like,
I mean,
No,
I
we
can
can-
see it's like
we can-
insulting their
yeah.
old product.
It's
in a way.
a
because
tough
people still use their old product. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, like Donald said 100 times, like both commercials were good.
Can we talk about that
Well,
too?
let's
Really, it's exactly
Yes.
that topic. Every time we see them break down who won, Donald always says, "Oh, they loved them both. They loved them both." Do you think they really always like them both, or do you think these executives get nervous around Donald and are like, "Oh yeah, they were both great," and they don't want to
They
insult
might even get
either?
nervous around the cameras. I don't know.
Because they can't like all of these. And if two ad agencies had their pitches up for this product, they wouldn't both go in and like be like, "Oh, they were both so great." Because it's not
I'm gonna
kindergarten.
go ahead and dispute
Well-
that. Here's why. Because
Okay.
first off, in the past, people some things have sucked,
Yeah.
and they've been told as such. And I don't think people have a problem telling the Don as such. Again, if the product's bad, the product's bad, and especially, first off, at the end of the day, Donald's going to see some of these things, and so he's going to make up his own opinion. And they certainly don't want Donald thinking like, "Oh my God, we said this commercial's great" or whatever, when in reality it's garbage. Because at the end, too, they want to further their relationship with Donald himself, and so if they need to get on the same page. That's my thoughts.
I agree with that because I remember seeing people getting bashed by the advertising companies
In the past.
when
We just
they've
haven't
done
seen it
really
this season.
No,
not
not
this
yet. But in the
season.
past, they have definitely. They've either
Exactly.
liked it or they.
No, you're definitely right.
hated
I was
it.
gonna say this is a great time to offer, if you want to call and be in on these types of conversations, 424-256-1729 as we jump to commercial. Before we'll do the boardroom right after a commercial. 424-256-1729 because there's so many different opinions on, what works, what doesn't, and that's obviously why the show is so good because we liked both commercials. Who won and why? Let's jump to a commercial, and then we'll jump right into the boardroom, which got, equally as exciting as always. Celebrity Apprentice, the after show, commercial time.
AFTERBUZZ TV. Hi, I was once like you, a lazy, angry loner whose only joy was watching TV and surfing the net. And like you, after I'd see one of my favorite TV shows, I'd be so excited and have so many questions that I'd actually have to talk to my douchebag coworkers about it at the water cooler. Then I discovered AfterBuzzTV.com. AfterBuzz TV produces after-show webcasts and podcasts for TV series of all kinds, like post-game wrap-up shows for all your favorite TV shows. AfterBuzz TV hosts are industry insiders who break down episodes of shows, take calls from fans, and interview cast and crew from each series, with over 60 different after shows, from Boardwalk Empire to American Idol to Vampire Diaries to Real Housewives, and more. Now, after a night of TV, I can ignore my stupid coworkers, who I hate, and go straight to my desk and watch or listen to all my favorite AfterBuzz TV after shows, and have all the TV fan interaction I need. Thank you, AfterBuzz TV.
AfterBuzz TV. What do you want to buzz about?
Hey, what do you want to buzz about? What do you want to bing about? We are doing it right now. Celebrity Apprentice, the after show right here on AfterBuzzTV.com with myself, Ronnie, Kimlai, Kristen, and Alina. We are breaking down this episode. We just talked about the tasks. So much went on this episode. Probably the most content. These shows that are 2 hours tend to draw like a lot of. We don't need to see everything, but today, the entire 2 hours had something going on. We're jumping in the boardroom. Lou just wants to pick a fight right away. Maybe he wants that camera time, like you say. I don't know. Weird guy, sort of. And he says, Lisa, I would have, if you were a man, I would throw you out the window or something.
throw
through
you
the
against the
wall.
wall, something like that.
Like, not a good comment to say, Lou. I mean, it's almost like worse than not worse than what Arsenio said, but in the sense that, like, I don't know, as a man, you're probably not supposed to say you'd want to pick up a woman and throw her. Like, that makes you look like an abuser.
I think because he prefaced it saying, if you were a man, I think he thought he could get away with saying
I think
it.
he tried to be funny, maybe. Like,
I think he was trying to have an Arsenio moment.
Yeah,
I think he was trying to do what he did last week.
He is just so defensive. He is so defensive, and he's ready to go to split ways from his team in case they don't win, which he used to
Right.
do with the guys too. And I don't like that in someone. I mean, I get if you don't like your commercial and you admit it and you just kind of like let it out, but he's done that every time in the boardroom. He always separates himself and starts throwing people under the bus before it's even necessary. And it's like so tactically wrong. And it's
think it's a
kind of
defense
embarrassing
mechanism
for him. It's a
for
total
him.
defense mechanism. And you
Yes.
just want to say, like, Lou, it's okay. Like, we're not all out to get you, and we like you. We do. You're a nice guy, but you can't coddle people all the time.
Yeah.
It just looks so bad for him. He ends up looking like the weakest link every time he does this. It's
and then
sad.
he continues to go with Lisa and it says something, you're lucky you're not my wife or whatever. And then she clearly was like, I'm lucky as well. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. He just looked a little aggressive towards women, and it was just kind of a line you may not want to dance around.
Yeah, the difference I think in Arsenio is like Arsenio is just like kind of like modern day like bitch, whereas Lou got weird. Lou got like, whoa, buddy, like he pulled out like the belt and was like about to like whip Lisa. Like it just was getting weird.
It was bad.
It was, like, a
Arsenio
different
was a
thing.
complete
Right.
professional in the boardroom. And again, I'm glad that we're not spending, as far as this episode, they weren't doing so much Aubrey versus Arsenio, because let it be what it is. Don't over edit things just to give us so much drama, because it's a good show as it is. But I love the little moment that we did kind of go off the two. Arsenio was asked, and he said, "Hey, I now got the right results with the wrong language." Just a professional. And that's literally the first question I had with Alina was like, "Do you think he's gonna apologize?" I just felt like that was outside of his character. We later in the episode had found out that it was because he had that personal fight, losing his cousin. So I like Arsenio. Like he won some points despite a really bad, ugly situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And unanimous stayed strong. They didn't have a weak link, like Teresa said.
yeah. And everyone loves
Wow.
Paul. Everybody loves Paul. Like he was like the star of that moment, Like,
But I will say about Paul, like everyone loves Paul. Paul's a big teddy bear and he's great, but he really hasn't done too much. He's not contributing, and he's kind of like going through like Diana had been going through, and I don't want to give him that pass right now. And I think he's cute and he's endearing, but again, I just think another one sliding by on his charm.
can't happen for too much longer.
No.
We're
no.
down
Yeah.
to.
I disagree. I think he's going to be a strong player. I think he's a man of few words, and when you need him, he'll be there.
He'll be there, but he's not the guy
he'll
that's
come
You want him
thinking
to
out
do
of the
more.
box.
I mean, you want
Yeah.
him to start coming up with some creative ideas.
I don't see him
I
as
don't
a.
think that's his.
But it is a tough
Strong
game.
He
suit.
utilizes his resources. He makes the signs. He does a comb over when he needs to. Wears a sweater.
She does you do make a great point.
Diana? That's
I
not a
watch
good-
I watch Big Brother a lot, and that game is just based on voting somebody out, and the social aspect of sort of sliding under, not ruffling any feathers, does sometimes get you pretty far. The difference, though, is with Big Brother, the cast, they vote each other out. Here, Donald, will call you on something. So I think even if he goes further, Donald at some point is going to be like, but Paul, you're not really doing much. So we're going to see that. That's a good prediction.
Yes,
we will
I
see
think
that.
hell be strong.
I don't.
So we difference of opinions here at AfterBuzz. Of course, we love that, and we love our iTuners. You know that. Watching the video, so we see both teams get to watch each other's video. Always fun to see one team critique the other. Penn, we literally got what Clay has been saying about Penn for a little while. A little bit condescending with his comment, a little bit.
Backhanded compliment.
It was a compliment diss.
Well, it wasn't even a compliment though. He's like, "Well, I'm not really into double entendres." It was more of kind of like, but I get it.
But-
Like, I think it's double entendre. They can be a cheap use of trying to be creative or funny. I don't think he was complimenting them. He's like, whatever.
But he said it was a good commercial, though, and I
Yeah,
think they
that's
did
true.
well. And
I didn't think there was anything wrong with his. Comment. I didn't think he was being manipulating. It wasn't doing. It was his opinion.
Yeah. Do you think they all
You
blew
know?
it out of because everyone blew it out of proportion, really? I mean, Donald, they all kind of had issue with it. It seemed like why would you be disloyal to your team? That's
oh,
where.
no,
we
it
were
wasn't.
just
We're not
talking
talking
about
about
Penn.
We're talking about Penn.
Oh, that comment. Yeah.
I mean, I think he was being honest. I just think he didn't really like it, and he had to say, "I don't like double entendres." But the commercial was nice. Like, I think he didn't want to just diss them completely. So I think he was
Right.
trying to like soften his negative critique.
I mean, what is he gonna say? I loved the commercial. I thought it was great.
He's above this. He's
know-
he's above it.
Yeah. But the one who did have a comment about the commercial was Lou. He said he didn't, he was asked again. So, in his defense, he was asked the question. But it was just weird, very bizarre to say, I like the other team's commercial.
that was so
It would
stupid.
have been weird if he did that just in general, let alone after he already had that spat with Lisa. Like, you're just looking really silly right there in that
Yeah,
boardroom.
it's just
It
not.
doesn't show team loyalty.
He's not a forward thinker. Because I mean, I would have probably wanted to say the same thing if I didn't like my team's commercial and I knew that
Well, here's-
theirs was
here's
better.
the
He
difference.
said it because he was upset with Lisa.
Yeah.
Well, in the
not-
past, people have said that, where they, but they knew they were on the chopping block. In terms of they knew they absolutely 100% lost the task. But if you don't know, if there's an inkling, even a chance that you could have won the task, don't say it. You know, you have to have, because again, people have done that and not gotten fired for it.
But Phil, no matter what, you were a part of this team. That's your product. Aren't you going to defend it? You're going to go with the
not
other
when you're
team?
upset with your team. If he already feels like he's separated from his team, he doesn't have that emotional connection to them that they have with each other because he's the odd man out. So
And again,
he
not
wants to insult
smart,
them.
but you have to know that that commercial has to be so atrocious that you will 100% lose, and you have to state that.
No, but I also think that if knowing that his commercial lost, it was, you don't say it because then you know for saying that you might be fired because you're going to be in the boardroom.
I think if he would have said it during the task that this is terrible, this is a dumb idea, I don't agree with this.
But then
and
contributed
came
another
out,
idea.
And then came
Oh,
to the
we
boardroom and
talk
said
about
theirs
that
was better.
at
It makes
AfterBuzz
sense.
a lot. Yes, if you're gonna have an opinion on something, come with something better, and you know that's like a rule of thumb within entertainment. I mean, you're smiling because I guess you
We've
assume
talked about, yeah.
Yeah, so it just gets ugly when because then Lisa starts going at him a little bit. She
Eats
said
him alive.
she says I know, and it's weird because we all don't like the way Lou's playing the game, sort of, and like Arsenio even says it's weird because we like him, and then he goes in that boardroom and just becomes this. Lou is a hard person to watch. He's a hard person to hate. He's a hard, it's very weird with
you
Lou.
You can't have 100% exact feelings on him because you want to like him, but you also want him to shut up.
Because Lisa's
dude.
ripping him a new one, and you're like, yes, but
he
no.
deserves it, right? He deserves it, but he doesn't because he's sweet and he's cozy, but he's not, and he's
And you feel bad.
yeah.
Did you love that?
I short circuit when I look at him.
Do you what? You feel bad?
Feel a little bad for him.
What did you think? Because you're like a Lisa fan. Just because you're talking louder doesn't make you right. And the way she delivered it.
Lisa is doing stand-up comedy. When you have someone in the audience heckling you, you have to come back with a comment, and you have to be able to fight these people. So that's what Lisa does. You cannot stand up to Lisa. And Paul's a giant dude, and he even said, "I do not want to get in a fight with Lisa," because Lisa can take you down with words because she's smart, she's quick-witted,
She's quick.
and she's confident. And having all those years of experience doing stand-up comedy, dealing with loud hecklers, her audience is not a tamed, mild audience. That audience is a colorful audience that is shouting shit out all show long, and all she's got to do is come back. And she doesn't know this person. She can't plan a response to this person.
Yeah.
And on the spot, she has to. So Lou's going up against a pro at arguments. That's
Right.
what she does.
You're right.
So, I mean,
And
it
she's
was
so
like
fast,
a battle
too.
who's
I think
going to
he
lose.
has a hard time hearing.
Well, now listen what his defense. What did you
and
guys
it's
think of
hard. I
that?
feel bad for him because she's so quick. It's like watching that was hard to watch.
I don't think he should have used that because I feel like he contradicts himself. He says, I have a disability, but I'm just as good as everybody else, blah, blah, blah. But yet
then
you're,
he'll use it.
Yeah, like, what's
But
going on,
I think
Lou?
going head to head with Lisa and having that disability, I think it totally threw him off.
I think he can't have he can't have a smart argument with anyone because he's not quick enough. He's not. He kept saying every argument that Lisa said to him, he shouted back the exact same line that he had just said the line
Yes,
before.
he did.
Too. Yeah.
And it's like he couldn't come up with anything new to say.
And no one really bought his, what was he saying? Something along the lines of me processing the information, which again is why you do feel bad. But then Donald said, well, Diana also, English is her second language, so she has that same problem, but she's just, even though she's processing things maybe secondary, she's saying the right things. You're still saying some bogus stuff, man. And I think that's kind of what it was.
Yeah.
So he gets his ass sent home. But he says, because Donald says, you're fired. And he says, take it back. I don't want to be fired. Like
he
he's
heard the Donald say you're fired pretty quick, and he came up with a,
Take it back.
Yeah.
That was so awkward for me. Was that awkward for you guys?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I thought he was being serious for a second.
I don't know all
he
the
was being serious.
I don't know all the stats on the original Incredible Hulk, but it's as if he is becoming that person. He's like one way, and then as soon as something happens, he spazzes out. So
He's just the Hulk, because there's no longer incredible in front of the word for me. I'm not saying that in a mean way. I mean, in like all reality, seeing a guy like this, when you see a guy who's this strong physically, it's really sad to see him not live up to that and to be this weak, meek, unconfident man, and it just takes away all that mystique that you might have about someone that you once saw in a specific light.
What
So-
did you guys think of the last the taxi cab confession? Here, like, we're again balancing the feeling bad for him and not liking his actions, and then he like was completely arrogant in that cab. I don't know if he was trying to be like so confident, but I was just like, oh, nah, there goes that reason for me not to like you again.
the psychologist in me would say that he was alone in the cab without the intimidation of Lisa and his fellow celebrity apprentices.
Getting his last word in.
He had his last word. It was just the camera guy, and he could use. I mean, I've had that experience where I'm around people that intimidate me, and I can't think of a word to say. That's why I can think of so many words about you guys. Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, but when you're in that scenario and you're not comfortable with yourself, and you're like, but then you're by yourself and you're in your environment, you're in your
I think
element.
he's trying to save face a little bit too, for himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a strong exit.
It really, Alina, you nailed it with your Twitter. It was one of the best episodes that we've had. Again, she wrote drama in her tweet, the hashtag drama. But again, I felt like it was drama with like so much reasoning behind it. Like people were fighting because they actually had to. This is turning into one of the best reality competition shows. We should go ahead and just jump into predictions unless any of you guys had a news story you kind of wanted to talk about, speak upon. Or I do know for me, we had one Twitter guy who was talking about, Clay Aiken or whatnot. And I don't know if people think like some of these cast members are necessarily like friends or not. And somebody gave to my attention, and I already sort of knew about it, but Aubrey just did, she sang the national anthem with Clay at like a NASCAR event. So, just because it was actually a really good duet, I guess. Just because you see them arguing, they all move on, and, it's a great chance for their star power to get out there together.
Well, Aubrey said it when she was here. She said it's not personal. You barely know them when you're there. So
yeah.
Well, she took it awfully personal.
Whereas
Hilton isn't supposed to be personal either, but she took that extremely personal.
Who?
So what are you gonna do?
All right. Well, that was a fantastic episode, I thought. I think now we should just jump into
predictions.
What do you have, Kristen?
I just have a little news, but it's
AFTERBUZZ TV.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
That's the remix right here from AfterBuzz.
It's just kind of information that I think with the parting words with people who left the week before. It's nice closure for our listeners here at AfterBuzz. And this website called tvgrapevine.com had to have an exclusive phone conference with Debbie Gibson, and Donald Trump. And so they just asked them some questions. They're not hard-hitting, crazy questions, but it's just kind of those parting words. And one of the questions they asked all of them to Debbie Debbie and then Dee. They said, is there anything you learned about yourself that you were surprised for partaking in the show? It's kind of a lengthy question. But she said, I actually, on the positive side of things, realized that I was tougher than I knew and didn't care as much what people think. I mean, when I was watching the episode back, I didn't waver and say, oh, I wish I would have done something differently to make, even going back to make Tia like me or Diana like me. I felt like, what? I made decisions and people took things personally that they shouldn't have. Sometimes they should do that in business. She just continues to go on to say that she loves herself. Dee said, I learned that I've never worked on a team, and yes, I've been in a band, but as a songwriter, the video writer, I write movies myself, I write books myself, I do everything by myself. It was really difficult for me, even though I think I did it effectively, it was still a stretch for me to work and consider everybody's opinion and try to be a team player. It was tough. So just some parting words on their part. And then they asked Donald a question, he just said, do you take into account charities that everyone's representing? And he said they don't really do that now when they're casting and stuff.
So it's more on them.
Yeah.
The thing about it is I think every one of these actors, reality people, or whatever they are.
Whatever
they are, I think they all have a different objective. Some are to like, maybe Teresa, we're assuming, is like, she just wants to be on the show as long as she possibly could. Some like Dee, because I'm thinking about Dee, like, did Dee have a great experience? And I'm thinking the answer for him would be yes, outside of the finger, because he was on the show a handful of episodes, got his name back out there among the masses, and, got to put out the name, put his charity out there as far as, getting that awareness. And he was not edited, ugly, sloppy. Now, Lou, I get worried about because now Lou, it's a conflict because he did win some money for his charity, but he looks ridiculous now. So it's a tough show to go on, but I admire all these contestants that do it. So, predictions, what do you got, Kimlai?
I just think there's going to be more drama.
Mama drama.
Safe to say,
AfterBuzz
more drama.
TV
Predictions. Alina, what do you think for the next couple episodes?
Well, I don't know what to think with one team only having 3 players. Are they going to unify them all? What's going to happen?
It'll happen soon, yeah.
So, I don't know. And I think the team that has
Clay
less
goes
people...
to the other side.
Really?
The dark
Which
side.
Ooh, then I predict that Clay and Lisa are going to butt heads.
Yes.
And that's it.
He will be on Forte.
A lot of people don't like Lisa, it seems like. Well, I mean, behind the scenes, they're...
She's probably not easy to work with at all.
Mm-hmm.
I predict that Diana and Lisa fall back out. I mean, that love fest was just temporary. It was like this weird attraction that
Agreed.
Lisa had for just like a split second when you see a handsome guy or something and you get wooey, but then you realize he's,
Well, or like you said about what Aubrey did. It was just the 1 week to pacify...
Yeah, I don't
to
think...
keep you all going in the game?
Yeah, and
maybe?
these people are in show business. They know how to turn it on and turn it off. I think Diana and Lisa are going to go to war because we saw Lisa getting really upset in the previews, and I have a feeling it was toward Diana because they showed Diana a little bit with the tears as well. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think we will continue to see the bond with Arsenio and Clay. They edited a little portion of that, and I think we'll continue to see that. They're obviously great friends, and it's just going to be a really good show. I mean, I'm really enjoying it. Kimlai, where can everyone find you online?
Go to eatenasian.com and follow me on Twitter at Kimlai Yingling.
All right. Alina, where can they find you?
Follow me on Twitter at _Alina23.
Okay.
I don't know where you'll find me because I haven't found myself yet. But if you want to go online, check out sweatthesmallstuffwithkristen.com and follow me on Twitter at Kristen Carney, KristenCarney.
It's an amazing website you got over there.
Thank you.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Ronnie Jr Media. And of course, we love it if you could follow us on our Twitter at AfterBuzz TV as well. And stay connected with everything we do around here. We've got a lot of shows. I'm guaranteeing that you will see a show that you also like outside of just Celebrity Apprentice. We covered quite a few. One of them being Dancing with the Stars, which our creator, Maria Menounos, is performing, competing, winning on that show. She's doing an excellent job. So that's it, you guys. Celebrity Apprentice, Phil, thank you in the booth for working it out.
Thanks, Phil.
We're out of here, AfterBuzz style. Good night.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.